Ladies and gentlemen, my SMB family, welcome back. Let's rock this thing. Are rents recession proof? Are rents recession proof? What do you think? Let me know in the chat. Let's get this party started. Go ahead, type in the chat. Are rents recession proof? Are rents recession proof? What do you think? And I know real estate's very geographic specific, so this could vary from market to market, from city to city, heck, even neighborhood to neighborhood within the same city. It depends if there's jobs, if there's not, all these variables can pop up. But I want to know what you think. Are rents recession proof globally? Okay. I want to show you this. Okay. This is a real life case study right here. This is 725 Fuller Avenue, St. Paul, Minnesota. I bought this property a long time ago. I bought it for, you can see right here in public records, it says I bought it for $130,000. Okay. This particular property was in a neighborhood that some people, some mentors, advisors, whatever you want to call them, they told me that this was going down. It wasn't a great place and I shouldn't have bought it. And it was a duplex. I had it rented out. And the sky was falling at this time. Okay. This is 2008, 2009. And the sky was falling. And so I had all these people saying, no, you just got to cut your losses and sell. And being naive in the business, newer in the business, I ended up selling it. You can see here that I sold it for quite just a few years later in the middle of all the down. I sold it. I sold it for a loss. I'm embarrassed to even be telling you that. I really am, because I pride myself on doing really, really good real estate investments nowadays, but I messed up. I sold short. Okay. Why do I say that? Because what happened to this property is that the rents, even when we were in the middle of this recession, so to speak, the craziness of it all, even in the middle of that, rents kept going up. They kept going up, not month after month, but year after year. The mortgage payment stayed the same. I mean, when you take out a 30-year fixed mortgage, it stays the same each month. In addition to that, I'm going to tell you about the secret savings account that is built into every amortizing mortgage, every mortgage that you take that's a fixed rate that, deducts over a 30-year period. And, but I sold short. I made a mistake on this one. Okay. Meanwhile, I licked my wounds. I got back up. I got back in the game because that's what we do. Okay. Winners win. You might not win every single match. You might not win every single point in the game, but winners win in the end. And so I got back up and I went out and I started buying more properties. I bought this one and this one, it's very similar area, middle of the whole craziness, the middle of the recession. My rents kept going up in this one. And then I bought this one. This is a 20-unit building. This 20-unit building is fantastic. Bought this one for just shy of $500,000, renovated it, and then filled it up with tenants, and then later sold it for $1.7 million. I should have never sold it, by the way, but that's a different story for a different day. My point is that even though I got my butt kicked on that one, I got back up and I started going up because what was actually happening, the fear that I had of like stuff falling, yes, values fell in the middle of the recession, but rents didn't for me. Rents went up for me. Now that's my personal case study. That's me living in the game. What about other people? I showed this particular property to this woman right here. Her name is Andrea. And I showed her this property, this is 1025 Margaret Street. I remember this one, cute hardwood floors. I walked it for her and she was out of state. And anyways, I showed it to her and I said, hey, you should really buy this one. This is a good deal. She bought it. You can see in tax records for $75,000. This is meanwhile, again, in the middle of the recession when everyone's saying, oh, the sky's falling. Well, she had trust and faith. She bought this thing. Guess what? Rents went up the next year and then rents went up again and they went up again. And guess what else happened? The value on this property is nearly tripled if you're following like the Zillow's estimate right here. Okay. It's nearly tripled since her purchase. So was she crazy to do this? I don't think so. Not at all. But these are case studies of individuals, right? What about the actual data? Because at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. What does the actual data show? I showed you 2 personal case studies. Well, let's dive into it. We can go into like this article written by Trish. This is actually really good. She wrote this a while back, but she did a deep dive case study on what her thoughts are if rents crash during a recession. And she did conclude in here that recessions, they basically impact interest rates, which also impact housing prices, but rents, not very much. They don't impact rents very much. She's got all of her knowledge in here, and she like pulled different articles and all that kind of stuff together. You can Google search this. You can see her article on this. But she concludes, after going through all of this research, that rent prices aren't very affected by recessions. It's almost as if rents are recession proof. Okay. What about this right here? Okay. Atom Data Solutions. By the way, Atom Data Solutions and CoreLogic, they're the two data houses that have almost the complete deck, so to speak, on all of the housing data. And by the way, I'm broadcasting right now from Boise, Idaho. I'm here for an event. That's why I'm in a hotel room and not in my normal setting and all that kind of stuff. I'm learning some massive, massive gold that I'll be sharing with you in the coming weeks. I'm with some of the best entrepreneurs, the best investors in the country right now. And I'm just gathering up. This is such a blessing from God for me to be here. So I will be sharing more over the next couple of weeks with you, what I've taken away and all that kind of stuff from being with all these people. But anyways, Atom Data Solutions, and then CoreLogic, they have the most accurate data, or the most compiled data on the rental situation across the country. And anyways, you can see here in this article, let me blow it up a little bit for you. Atom Data Solutions, they concluded that rents are less impacted by a recession. There you have it. Case closed. Maybe I should just finish the broadcast right now. What do you think? Okay, no, I want to actually finish right now because I want to go through a little bit more data on this, okay? But in conclusion, the groups that have the most data, they're saying, hey, rents don't really go down during a recession. They're not very impacted. It's not the driving force, okay? So even though we saw things like this, literally, like in the last year, rental in prices drove up to the moon. And some people would say, well, hold on, that's the sign. That means it's going to pop. It's all going to crash. It's all going to come down. Here's the deal. The reason that rent prices drove through the moon in the last year, at least at the time that we're doing this here together, the reason that they went up so much is that during the whole like craziness of the pandemic, rent prices were pretty much stagnant. They didn't raise very much. Not a lot of landlords were raising rents. They had rules against it. They had rules against kicking people out. There was so much tightening from the government during that period that rents didn't really go up that much. This is really just a makeup for the last few years. So I don't, on the other hand, seeing it jet this much up. You know, the other thing, there's another psychological reason for people. People were cooped up in their houses for a long period of time. They were forced to work from home. And when you spend countless hours at home, way more than you used to, then your home becomes a priority in life. It becomes the spot that like people, you know, they want to spend time and all that stuff. So they're willing to like spend more to be in a better place. And that's why housing prices have gone up and all this kind of stuff. And that's at least Nate's theory on this, okay? There's a lot of other people that would agree when you start to do research on this. But in addition to that, rental prices had to increase because they didn't increase for the last couple of years, or they barely increased the last couple of years. Now they played catch up. Will they continue to shoot up through the moon like this at this level? That's like, if you look at this graph, I mean, it's literally shooting up over the last year. I don't think so. I think we're going to level off now. I think we'll be back to normal rent growth, which depends on the market that we're talking about, but anywhere from 3% to 8%, depending on the market we're talking about. But still, even if we look at that and say, let's just call it 6% on average, 6% year over year, that's jumping like that. That's a pretty big jump. We look at that 2 years down the road. I mean, that's more than a 12% increase. It's not, the math compounds on itself. Rents going up by 6% per year, that compounds on itself pretty fast. It's still a pretty big increase overall. So just know that. Okay. Now, what about historically? This graph right here is from CoreLogic. Let me blow it up a little bit for you. Okay. CoreLogic is saying overall, when we look at the snapshot back on CoreLogic right here, they're saying overall that the only rental decrease that they have was really during the great recession that we had, 2008, 2009, 2010. And even with that, if you look at the numbers over here, we're not talking about a 20 or a 30% drop in rental rates. We're talking about this black line right here. That's the high tier housing prices. These are like your big, big houses that rent for a lot. The high tier only went down by less than 5%. Meanwhile, remember, housing prices in some areas, they were cut in half, 50%, 40%, 30%, depends on the city we're talking about. But prices came down a lot. Rent barely moved. Rent barely came down at all. And in some cases, rent didn't come down. And in fact, some places rent actually went up because people, if they're being foreclosed on and they lost their house and all that kind of stuff, they still need a place to live. Where do they turn to? They turn to renting. So it is my conclusion from my personal case studies, my properties, my multifamily property, my single family properties, my personal case studies show rents really weren't affected by the recession. But then to back that, other investors that I work with, and plus the data from the two largest data suppliers in the space with the rental housing prices, they're showing the same thing. It's my conclusion that rents are recession proof. Now, nothing is immune to everything, right? We can't just say, oh, this is the holy grail, like best invest in things that produce cash flow off of rent. We can't just go and like blanket that. I'm not a financial strategist. I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't make statements like that at all. I'm telling you this from my perception, from my standpoint as a fellow investor, that rents are one of the safest bets that we can make right now. If you think that a recession's on the horizon, which I don't think you're too far off. I don't know when the horizon actually is, though. We're in this weird period right now where the government has been doing this market manipulation for a long time. They've been doing quantitative easing. That's the fancy word for printing money, injecting money into the system. They've been doing that since 2008, and they never let off the gas until this year. This year is the first time that they're going backwards on it. They're raising interest rates now, and they stop quantitative easing. That's like basically a plane that can fly around and never have to land. We've been flying the plane since 2008, never had to land. That, like, it's never happened in US history before, number one. And so I don't know what will happen. No one really does. We're going to find out, though. So buckle up, okay? Buckle up. This doesn't mean you should sit on the sidelines. This doesn't mean, oh, I'm just going to wait and I'll just see what happens. Here's the thing. If you're one of the wait and sit on the sidelines and see what happens kind of people, you're just going to miss it all altogether. You're going to lose money. And the reason I know this is because if you have cash sitting in a savings account right now that's making nothing, making less than 1% interest on it, inflation is the highest it's been in 40 years. It's raging 7% plus. You're losing money on the delta. Like inflation's going up faster than that savings account is paying you interest. So you're losing money right there. So right now it's the time to buy hard assets. That's my best friendly advice that I can give. Buy hard assets that make sense to you. Real estate makes total sense to me. And even if we head into a recession in the next couple of years, as long as we're buying cash flow properties that spit out positive cash flow every single month, what happens, and this is the other big part of it, okay? Let me blow this up for you. What happens when we're buying these cash flow positive properties is we have this thing, we coined it here at Social Media Blueprint called the secret savings account. If you have ever seen your mortgage statements, every month, typically part of the payment goes towards principal and part goes towards interest. The principal in the beginning of the mortgage is not very much. Maybe on a $2,000 payment, maybe it's $200 as an example. Still, that's $200 being paid into your secret savings account every month. That's being paid down on the mortgage balance. So when you go to sell the property, or if you go to refinance the property, you will get to realize that secret savings account. You'll be able to cash into it. And oftentimes in a rental situation, if our tenants are renting it and they're paying rent, they're the ones that are actually paying down the mortgage. Therefore, they're contributing to your secret savings account every single month. You can't get that from leaving your money in the bank. You absolutely cannot. My family and I, I've been at this game for a while. Literally, God's blessed us. I've got my butt kicked on some projects. I'm not afraid to confess that. I learned tremendously. I've won way more often than I've got my butt kicked, especially in recent years. The last few years, God has blessed us beyond belief. I probably don't even deserve what we have right now, truthfully speaking. I just feel humbled and blessed by that. So, but with these projects, we're running faster today than we ever have before. I am running harder today on real estate acquisitions than I ever have before. We're taking projects like this one right now. I'll blow it up on the screen for you. This is a beautiful 16-unit property over in North Carolina. It's got one campus that's in South Carolina. I got another couple that are coming up over in Lexington, Kentucky right now, a 72-unit building, and then another one that's a little bit larger than that. I'm running hard right now, not because I have to, but because I know what's good right now. I'm a geek with this data. Like they say that it takes 10,000 hours in any business or any industry to become an expert, or professional athletes, all that kind of stuff. 10,000 hours. I bet you if I really tallied mine, I have more than 20,000 hours at this game. Why? Because I love it. I obsess over it. I obsess over the clients that we take on. I obsess over the results that they get, every bit of it, because I love this game. I love this game of real estate. I like to win. I like to see the people that are working with us win as well. If you want to win in real estate over the next 12 months, make sure you're hanging with the right people. Okay. If you want to inquire about hanging with our team and seeing if we can help you, we do a lot of different things, but people know us in the space for helping them find off-market deals, number one, but then number two, helping them close them, helping them get to the finish line so they can actually get paid, helping them get consistent deals, helping them be able to do deals like you see on your screen right here, where you don't have to put cash out of your own pocket, but instead you gather up accredited investors so that they'll help you fund the project. If you want to win and you want to have my team help you with that, then what I'd like you to do is this: type the word win in the comments below. W-I-N, win. Type win in the comments below and just watch what happens. Okay. My team, number one, that's nothing for sale, by the way. Like, we don't operate that way. Literally on that, what would happen is my team would reach out to you. It'd either be Nicola or Esther, maybe Ted, maybe Franco, maybe Israel, but maybe even Kenny, who knows? But my team would reach out to you and book a call. Okay. On that call, we jam for a little bit. If on that call, if you're like, hey, I really want to talk more and deeper about like what you guys could do, then we could schedule another call to talk about like buying one of our services, things like that. But on the first call, it's really important that we understand where you're at and where you're trying to get. Because if we're not the ones to help you, if we're not the best fit, we're going to be the first ones to say, hey, it's probably better if we refer you over here. I get the blessing and privilege of working with a lot of people in the space, so we can probably refer you to the right spot. But if we can help you, then we'll map out a plan for it. We'll map out a plan and we'll show you what it looks like to actually win in this game. Okay. So if you want help winning in this game over the next year, then type the word win in the chat and then we'll jump on, we'll jam. So what I'm doing on projects like this, and this is that actual property, is I'm just being really conservative. I don't know where we're going with all this stuff, but little things like interest rates right now, a lot of people are saying, well, interest rates probably will keep going up. And so what I'm doing in my analysis of properties now is I'm using a 6% factor on the loan. See that? 6% right there. Now, am I paying 6%? No, not at all. In fact, the last 38 unit building that we locked in, it was a interest rate just below 4%, just below 4%. And so do I think that I need to budget 6%? Probably not, but I'm being conservative. Do I think rents are going to drop? No, but I'm being conservative. Okay. That's what I'm doing to play this game and win this game. And I think you should be too. Okay, cool. Get in the game either way. Even if it's not with us, I'm going to give you that push, that ethical push that I have, because I know what I know right now because I got in the game a long time ago. I know what I know because someone pushed me to get in the game. And I hope that you take action on this. I hope that you get yourself in the game right away. Like, don't wait another day on this stuff. Real estate is a good thing. It is a blessing. It's been such a wonderful vehicle for my family, and I can't wait to hear about your success in it too. Do me a couple of favors. Press that like button. If you got a couple of nuggets out of this, that'll help us get the word out. And if this is something, even if you don't want to like type win or anything, type a comment or a question below. It blesses the algorithms of these platforms, and it lets us get ranked higher so then other people can see this content as well. All right. Thank you very much. God bless. I look forward to seeing you again sometime soon, maybe next week on the show. And again, if you want help and you want to jam with my team for a little bit, type the word win in the comments below. All right. Thank you.